so serious. We're so glad you're here this morning. So we'd love for you to stand with us and sing this song. You will recognize it, and it does take some energy. So you can dance to it, you can sing to it, just boogie down and just enjoy yourselves. Let's do it. Shining out there. All right.
Turn and greet each other. Say good morning. My name is John or Jane. Yeah, you can cross the aisle and thank somebody. Say hello. This is the joyful Unity family of Boulder. Okay, share the joy, share the gratitude. Take somebody to lunch. Okay, now what you can do, please turn off your cell phones. Not just to vibrate, but all the way off, because we have sensitive sound equipment and it could interfere with our sound equipment. We don't want that to happen. I want to say welcome to all of our Spanish-speaking friends who are joining us at this service and all of our online people who are joining us at this service. We appreciate you having tuned in. And you're going to have an opportunity today to share in a real insightful talk that has to do with what we are all about in Unity. That will be given by Shad. Is there anybody here from another Unity? Okay, anybody here for the first time? I just saw somebody raise their hand. Were you from another Unity? Yeah, which one? Longmont Unity. Okay, cool. So, is there anybody here for the first time? Is there anybody here who has been coming for 20 years? Look at all these people, 20 years. What about 30 years? Wow, 30 years also. This is great. It's phenomenal that you've been coming for 30 years, or maybe you're just not getting it. But you will get it today. We have a phenomenal talk today. You're really going to love it.
Pay no attention to that maniac. We don't know who he is. He just came up here and just started talking. Hello, welcome to Unity of Boulder today. My name is Mike Shadle. I'm the administrator here at Unity of Boulder. If you ever have a question about this place or anything, my office is right over here, and I always welcome everyone to come in and say hello. I got a few announcements to start things off with today. We are starting our usual Easter lilies for sale. They're not actually for sale. We're asking for a $15 donation for each one, and you buy them in memory of a loved one who has passed, and we use them to decorate our beautiful sanctuary here for Easter. You can sign up to get those right out here. Our good friend Marjorie McCurtain, who's running the whole drive for that, is right out here in the lobby, so check that out after the service. We have an SEE class, which stands for a Spiritual Education and Enrichment class, taught by Shad, coming up April 14th, titled Self-Awareness. And if you're looking to become a licensed Unity teacher, this class can give you credit towards that, but you don't need to be looking to become a licensed Unity teacher to take the class. Anyone can take it. It's $85 now or $100 the first day. So sign up for that in the lobby or the bookstore. You can read more about it in the handout you got when you came in the door. And we are doing a donation drive right now for the people of Pine Ridge. Right now, they've had a particularly rough winter and need a lot of goods. Anything food, non-perishable obviously, water, any sort of heating equipment, warm clothes, anything like that. If you actually go look out in our back lobby here, the whole lobby is so full you almost can't even walk through it. That is the second time this week it's been that full. People are coming regularly and taking it up there. So if you have anything, we're going to be doing this for ongoing. So anything you have you might want to drop off, please do. They will welcome it. Today at 12:30 today, our ministers and our staff, we're all going to meet over here at 3 Margaritas, which is at 28th and Iris, for some decently priced, delicious Mexican food. Please join us. We're asking everyone to come hang out with us. My favorite thing to get there is the vegetarian burrito, smothered with the pork green chili. It is so fun to watch the waiter's face every time I order that. I can't, honestly, I don't even know if I order it because it's so fun to order or it's delicious. It's both. So I recommend that, but please come join us for that right over here following this service. We also have our Spiritual Spelunkers group meeting today at 12:15 in Fellowship Hall, but they're also going to join us at 3 Margaritas. But this is our no age limit up or down group that's kind of more of an adventurous group, hiking, bowling, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in checking that group out, please meet them over at Fellowship Hall at 12:15 before coming on over to join us for lunch. And next week, we are going to be showing a movie. We're going to have our Unity Theater. We're going to be showing a movie called Sacrifice by Darren Brown. This guy's movies are a trip, man. He does experimental things where he gets people into bizarre situations to see how far he can push them. And this one is a psychological experiment of, can he get someone to take a bullet for a complete and total stranger? And in the 49 minutes long that this movie is, you will find out the answer to that. This guy's, I can't wait for this one. It's TV 14. If you have a teenager you'd like to bring with you, we're asking just for a $3 donation to come in and see it, and it's followed by a discussion with Jack Groverland, so come on out for that. That's next weekend at 2 p.m. And finally, we do have a newsletter mailing coming this Thursday. If you read your handout about the newsletter mailing, don't, because that ad is bonkers. It literally says, this Friday, this Thursday at 10:30 p.m. or 10:30 a.m. So pay no attention to that ad, but we are having newsletter mailing this Thursday at 10:30 a.m. If you have any time, come hang out with me. We eat food, we listen to music, and just have an all-around good time hanging out, just getting it done and getting that newsletter on out. And finally, I would just like to let you all know that we here at Unity of Boulder are an all-inclusive community. No matter what cultural or religious background you come from, your relationship orientation, you're all welcome here. Unity of Boulder is a safe and enlightened place, and through inclusivity and a collective spiritual practice, we do know that we will make a difference in this world. Thank you.
Good morning. We want to let you know that we do have prayer partners available to you at the end of this service. If you're facing a challenge in your life, a prayer partner will come and find you. Just stay seated in your seat, and they'll take you down to our beautiful meditation room and have a prayer with you. All right, let's just close our eyes and get centered in this space and recognize this time that we have set aside to connect with this greater power, this greater love. Father, Mother, God, we come together this morning to remember our pure connection with this love of this universe, helping us move through any challenges or heartbreaks, knowing that anything that's showing up in our life can be healed and moved through into a higher state of knowing and growing our consciousness as well. We are open and receptive to the message that will be shared here today, so that we may take it forward into our week and be that much better by living in a clear, connected state of oneness, kinder, more loving, more peaceful. May we reflect your love, Spirit. May we be the conduit for your peace, and may we be the joy that we want to see in this world. And we give thanks for this in the name and the power of the living Christ within each and every one of us. Amen.
So let's stay in this meditative space. I did want to mention that music has the power to change. It has the power to move. And if you're ready for change, I encourage you to sing this song with us because you will have change.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned. Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true.
takes a village. How are y'all doing today? Man. If that's as good as it gets, we are in trouble. How are we all doing today, honestly? I like the thumbs up. It's just subtle, but it says a lot. Well, that's good. I do want to remind you, after this service, we will gather in the back corner of the sanctuary over here to discuss the topic that was presented today. So if you have any insights or questions that come up and you'd like to ask me those questions or share those insights, I will be back there and invite any of you to join me in that. You can quickly grab a snack next door if you like first. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and jump into this with our words of wisdom, if we can have those up. No, that's not it. Thank you, Heather, though. I appreciate the gumption on the ball. Are we going to get those up? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. Oh, you guys could all see it. If you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. Has anyone heard that statement before? I don't know who it's attributed to. Someone in the first service said it's Garth Brooks. I'll accept that. That's fine. He's a cool guy. All right. Well, I want to start with a little experiment, which is going to require your participation, but you don't have to raise your hand, so you can let those nervous jitters go away already. I'm going to put some names on the screen. Then I'm going to invite you just to sit back and sense your reaction to those names, what happens in your body. So here we go. See if you're put off or uncomfortable when you hear these names. Gautama Buddha, Lao Tzu, Bhagavan Krishna, Jesus Christ. Now, raise your hand or just nod your head if you had even a slightly negative reaction to Jesus Christ. A couple people ready to admit that. Well, just go ahead and hold on to that thought for now. Let that sit in your head. 2 weeks ago, I gave a talk about the struggles that Unity is facing as a movement and as a church here in Boulder. And one of those struggles is with identity and how Unity presents itself to the world. After that talk, we invited people to share their feedback with the ministers, myself, and other people, and we had group discussions like we're going to have today. Some people gave feedback by email or approached us in person during the week. And what was fascinating was that one of the things that came up was two completely opposing views. The first one being this: there is too much talk about the Bible, Jesus, church, and people don't want to hear that anymore. The second thing that came up was this church is getting too woo-woo and losing its foundation in the fundamentals of unity, like the Bible, Jesus, and practical Christianity. Do you see the difficult issue we face? So, coming out of this and hearing the feedback, I have been inspired to share a personal story with you today. And it took place back in 2015, shortly after I had just graduated from my ministerial school in Detroit, Michigan. I was just entering my year of internship, which at the end of that year I would then be ordained as a Unity minister. I was also currently at that time the minister of Unity of Las Vegas, and I had been so for almost 3 years at that point. So here I was, this young, excited, fresh minister on the scene, ready to change the world, and I was confident and all those things that come with that sort of situation. But something was horribly wrong beneath the surface. So as I share my spiritual process and thinking at that time with you today, I hope you'll find something in this for you as well. And if you don't, I have no guilt on that. That's your fault, not mine. So for those of you that don't know, most major cities have what's called an interfaith council. Is everyone familiar with an interfaith council? Raise your hand so I know at least our demographic here. All right, so maybe 20% of people know what that is. This is a volunteer group of religious leaders and lay people who come together from all different religions and faiths and non-religions like atheism to discuss topics from their belief and their viewpoint. Usually it's current issues that are happening in the world or just religious topics that we could talk about. And the purpose of this group is to create a more informed public and to dispel any myths or misinformation that is out there about these different faiths or religions. You know how rumors get started. And so it's an open discussion forum so we can ask those questions that we didn't feel comfortable asking in other settings. So a lot of that happens there. And at that time in 2015, I was an active participant in the Interfaith Council of Southern Nevada. This is their mission statement: a world where all faiths, spiritual paths, cultural traditions, and communities cooperate for the benefit of all and are honored, respected, and celebrated. Sounds pretty good, right? That's a noble cause. Well, this group had monthly meetings, and we would get together, those of us who'd show up. It'd be anywhere from 8 to 20 to 30 people that would show up, and the meeting spaces were at the different religious centers throughout town. Would volunteer up one of their spaces for us to meet in, and we'd come together and we'd meet with all the different faiths, and we'd always have a series of 3 or 4 questions we were going to address, and then we'd open up at the end for other comments and questions. And then a couple times a year, they would actually put on something called the Interfaith Forums. These were much larger events in a space probably this size that was full, packed seating. And these were a panel of leaders, a collection of the various religious leaders representing the religions and belief systems in Las Vegas would be up on a panel. And they would speak on specific topics that would be for that particular forum that year. And they might have 1 or 2 forums a year. So I had been regularly attending the monthly meetings, and Erin, my wife, and I would go and attend these larger forums together. And the first one we went to was at the Las Vegas Jewish Synagogue Ner Tamid, which was a beautiful space, and that was a great event. And on that discussion panel that day were leaders from Judaism, from Islam, humanism, from the Sikhs, from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and from Christian Science. The second event we went to, either later that year or the next year, was at the Las Vegas Church of Jesus Christ for Latter-day Saints Temple in Las Vegas, which was a very big, beautiful temple they have there. We weren't allowed in the primary building, if you understand that faith, how that works, but they did have a secondary building that we had the event in, and there was probably 300 or so people at that event. And on that discussion panel that time, it was paganism, Buddhism, humanism, Sikhism, and again, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, since they sponsor that, and Christian Science again. And one of the beautiful things I discovered out of this whole process was that it was the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints which was the primary push in most cities to get these interfaith councils established, and actually funded them in many cases and gave them the space to do it. So that's a really beautiful part of their mission, is to get the word about and to share these communities and faiths so we have a better understanding of each other. Now let me preface what I'm about to say with this. These were powerful, informative, beautiful events and experiences. And let me also say this: I come to events like this with a very different perspective than most people do. And I can probably speak on behalf of Jack and Santish and other ministers in the same way. I'm always looking to expand my awareness when I go to something like this, as well as my community's awareness. And I come from the perspective of a minister, of a spiritual leader, and so I don't necessarily share the same viewpoint as someone that might be sitting next to me there who's just a lay person and doesn't have a ministry of their own. So I'm looking at it in a different way than most people would be. And so here's why I needed to preface with that. Because I came away from each of these 2 large events with the same deep, sickening feeling. It was a very complicated feeling and one that I struggled to try to get in touch with for weeks after each one of these events I attended. Both times it drove Erna absolutely nuts with all the questions I had and all the issues I was facing after the events, so much so that she banned me from any future events until I figured out what was going on inside of me. And the best way I can describe what I was feeling is this. If we can have this up. What is the point of it all? Has anyone ever arrived in their life with this question? That's where I was. And it's an awkward place to be as a newly ordained or about to be ordained minister. This is what I was feeling deep down, and it was very uncomfortable for me. But as I processed and I reflected on it in prayer and meditation, I finally discovered how it was getting triggered in me at these events. So let me explain by going back to the Interfaith Forum, these large events. So there I was, sitting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints room outside their temple, the extra room they had, listening to each panel member answer this specific question. The question they were given was, how does my religion unfold in my daily life and relation to others? Basically, they're asking, what does your religion look like on a daily basis? Like we hear the concepts of religion, we hear the tenets of religion. What does it look like as you live your average life? That's what they were supposed to explain. And it was a great question that came with a lot of wonderful answers that were very insightful about how, does a Sikh live their average life? How does someone from religious science live differently than anybody else? So it really gave us more of a deeper core understanding of their religion. And the first to answer was from paganism. And she talked about the beauty of paganism and its connection to the earth, its connection to the moon, its connection to the air, its connection to nature and all life. And she was so eloquent and beautiful how she shared that. And now when I heard that, I was so moved that I thought to myself, that sounds like me. I wonder if I'm pagan. Then a woman from Buddhism got to answer the question, and she talked about meditation, and she talked about spiritual discipline and oneness with all life and going within to connect with that Buddha nature. And as I heard that, I thought to myself, wow, that sounds like me. Maybe I'm a Buddhist. Then the humanists spoke, and the humanists shared with us that humanists are atheists, but they believe that there is a goodness that runs through humanity and the human experience. And this gentleman talked about how we can be good serving people without the need of a God or religion. So we should serve other people and serve this planet, and we should make an effort to leave it a better place than we found it. And I thought to myself, that sounds like me. Maybe I'm a humanist. Then a gentleman spoke about what it means to be Sikh, where all religions are respected and there is only this life. They believe there's only this life. And in this life, you must live it to the fullest by putting others first always. Their most important thing is to put others first always. And he said, we must fight for the underprivileged and defend equality and truth in this life. And yes, I thought, that sounds like me. Maybe I'm a Sikh. Then the elder from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints spoke. He focused on the importance of community service and family and dedicated worship and faith and a spiritual structure to help you grow and expand. And I thought, I deeply respect that dedication to family and faith and spiritual structure. Maybe this is me. Finally, the woman from religious science had an opportunity to answer the question. She talked about how religious science actually embraces everything all the other panelists had said. as well as the connection between science and religion as a tool to prove our interconnectedness and our ultimate oneness. She also talked about the benefits of prayer and meditation, spiritual practice, and how we only need the mind to heal the body. And I thought to myself, this sounds a lot like me. This sounds a lot like Unity. Maybe I'm actually religious science. Now let me clarify, this sounds a bit tongue-in-cheek, but as it was happening, I was very serious about what was going on in my consciousness. I was really questioning if maybe I would be a better fit in one of these other religions or faiths. So you may sit here thinking, well, that's not so bad because Unity embraces all paths to truth, so it really is sort of in alignment with the way Unity is anyway. So let's crawl deeper into my mind to better understand my struggle I was going through at that time. As I sat listening to each of the panelists answer the question, I began to imagine myself up there because I thought potentially at some point they could ask me to be a panelist, because that's what they do, is they ask the different leaders that show up at these things to be a panelist. I could easily be a panelist up there. So I was imagining myself there, up there with the panelists, and it was about to be my turn to answer the question. I was getting ready to describe Unity to the audience. My turn comes around, the audience all looks at me, and in my imagination, I watch myself begin to speak. And as I listen to how I would answer that question, I am not proud of what I hear myself say. My response lacks foundation, it lacks clarity, it lacks purpose. I hear myself give a wishy-washy, non-committal response with a bunch of nice-sounding spiritual words that don't mean much of anything to anyone at any time. My answer had no conviction, there was no call to action, and it had no guts behind it. Now, my first reaction to what I heard myself say in my own imagination was, "What are you babbling about?" My second reaction was to say, "You have no right to be on that stage because you don't know who you are, and that doesn't inspire anybody." But the shad I heard up there was not the shad I felt inside. I felt grounded, I felt concrete, I felt powerful, I felt clear, I felt decisive, defined about my belief and my understanding of Unity. But the descriptive words I had been given, that I had learned to use in Unity, did not reflect that. Unity is progressive, Unity is spiritual, it's metaphysical, it's holistic, it's inclusive, it's practical, it's applicable. But those are all adjectives describing something. But what is that something we keep describing? They don't say what that something is. There's no noun there ever put at the end of all those descriptive words. Well, we say Unity is new thought. So let me ask you this. Raise your hand here if you know what new thought is and you can define it. I thought so. We had two people in the first service, but if you take away Jack, we only had one. Well, most people assume new thought is the same thing as new age, and they are not. And there's also a lot of other confusion that continues. People often ask Unity ministers and leaders, how is Unity different from Universal Unitarian or Unitarian Universalists you use? How is it different from agape? How is it different from religious science or science of mind or centers for spiritual living? And there is a question that is the question of all questions for Unity leaders, asked time and time again to people all throughout the movement. It's a question that I have been asked as long as I have grown up in this movement from a very young age. It is a question that gets us babbling, dancing, and dodging. Are you Christian? Is Unity Christianity? Well, you can't pin me down. Unity struggles to answer that because Unity has become afraid to associate with Christianity. Likely due to the fact that many people come here fleeing the Bible-based religion of their past, calling themselves recovering Catholics, recovering Baptists, recovering Mormon, recovering Episcopalian, recovering Christian, and on and on and on. The various Christian denominations have left a bad taste in our mouths. So much so that hearing the name Jesus Christ can be off-putting and make us uncomfortable. This has nothing to do with my talk, but occasionally, when I feel a talk's getting too heavy, I put a lemur on the screen. Because there's just something about a lemur's presence that just lightens the room. So just take that in. It's really a deep message about trying to tackle big problems in life. Some of you need more time with that, I guess. Thank you, Farouk, for getting that. So let's do this as another little experiment. Raise your hand if you think Jesus Christ's intention was to have you associate his name and teachings with fear, judgment, closed-mindedness, war, bigotry, racism, hatred, exclusivity, homophobia, guilt, and hypocrisy. Raise your hand if you think that was Jesus Christ's intention. Raise your hand if you think that was the actual message that Jesus Christ taught. Of course, it was not, and no one raised their hand. But that shows the horrible injustice that has happened through 2,000 years of limited human ego-driven, power-hungry, closed-minded individuals twisting and distorting the deeply powerful and transformative message of this amazing, enlightened being. The Guru Yogananda had this to say: Jesus was crucified once, but his teachings are crucified daily at the hands of ignorant misinterpretations. A horrible injustice has occurred to a soul that deserves nothing but the highest admiration, reverence, and respect. Jesus was a spiritual activist who started a spiritual movement, but yet we wound up with this. All these offshoots of Christianity, Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Anglican, Protestant, we've got Greek Orthodox, Alexandrian, we've got Lutheran, we've got Methodist, and on and on and on and on and on. All claiming they are the one true religion of the Bible, and by and large teaching the polar opposite of the actual message in the Bible. What was the original intent of Jesus and those around him who struggled to preserve the Christ message by writing them down in what became known as the Bible? What was it that many of them suffered incredible hardship and even lost their lives for, trying to preserve and protect so that 2,000 years later they would still exist so that we could learn and grow from them? That is the question that inspired our Unity co-founders Charles and Myrtle Fillmore to create this movement. And that is the question that I discovered I was battling with at the core of my being in 2015. What is my purpose as a Unity minister? What is the purpose of Unity as a whole? In consistent, dedicated, focused prayer and meditation, I demanded my answer from the universe because I was hurting. And after weeks of working on it, my answer finally came like a bolt of lightning. I am a Christian the way Christ intended them to be. Unity is Christianity as Christ intended it to be. And lo and behold, this is the same realization that our Unity co-founders Charles and Merle Fillmore came to in the late 1800s. They discovered that Christianity had completely missed the mark and missed the point. And the Fillmores knew very clearly the purpose of unity, and they were not afraid to stand behind it. This is Charles Fillmore. Unity is a link in the great educational movement inaugurated by Jesus Christ. Our object is to discern the truth of Christianity and prove it. The truth we teach is not new. Neither do we claim special revelations or discovery of new religious principles. Our purpose is to help and teach mankind to use and prove the eternal truth taught by the Master. That is very clear and unapologetic. Because unity's lack of clarity is only a recent problem, stemming, as I see it, primarily from a fear of offending those who have an issue with Christianity and the Bible. And that is not to say that there are not very relevant and real reasons to be put off by what Christianity and the name Jesus have become. But these are issues that we need to work out and resolve. Trying to avoid, suppress, ignore an issue like this does not heal it. Am I wrong? The Fillmores did not give up on the idea of Jesus and Christianity just because others had spent thousands of years dirtying it up. No, they set about to right the wrong, to heal the injustice, to clear his name of all the garbage and baggage that had been attached to it. Christianity became a noun for the religion about Jesus. But the original Christ intention, as we see it, was to start a movement of action, people studying and applying the Christ teachings in their own lives today to experience the results of such today. A movement that teaches us all how to come into our own Christ nature, just as Jesus did in his life. Jesus is not the way, Jesus is the way shower. A master teacher, a guide, exceptional, but not the exception. Now, unity has always and will always respect and embrace and support and encourage and celebrate the truth that God can be found in all religions through all spiritual paths. But that does not mean that unity is just a collection or a conglomerate of all these other religions and paths. Unity does stand for something on its own. And unity does have an identity, and it has a path. I had a dark night of the soul in 2015, but after a profound insight, I came to my realization and a clearly defined purpose. I have been ordained in unity, ordained by the Fillmores to carry on their mission, in spite of what's trendy in the modern society. I stand here today as one who has been called to fix the errors of our past and clear the name of one of the most beautiful human beings that has ever stepped foot on this planet. I am not ashamed to say that I am a Christian, and unity is Christianity. And I am a Christian the way Christ intended us to be. And unity is Christianity the way Christ intended it to be. Part of my job is to take back the proper definition of these two words, back to their original intent. And I know it will bother some people. And I know it may not be easy, but oftentimes a true calling isn't. And that is the truth as I experience it. let's take an opportunity to do some meditation, to practice what Jesus actually taught. I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. Just simply let your shoulders relax. Bring your attention to your breath, allowing it to slow down. Allowing your mind to settle. Allowing your body to settle. Allowing clarity to come down deep into your core. We have been given a great gift and opportunity just by sitting here today to be a part of a movement, to be around like-minded individuals that are working to do something powerful and transformational on this planet. We're inspired by the teachings of a beautifully enlightened being. That's all I need to say. I'm grateful to be here with you. I know that you too can sit in a sense of gratitude for this space, for this movement, and for these teachings. And so it is. Amen.
Now, as we're preparing to do that, let me explain that these wooden coins that you may see some people putting in the offering actually are coins that people who are giving regularly from their credit card, they pick these coins up in the lobby, and so it's just symbolic of the donation that they're making every week and sometimes every month. And if you'd like to be part of that, if you'd like to make your donation regular, which would be very helpful, you can see any one of the ministers. They'll explain it to you how you go about doing that. I'd like to also say to those people that are tuning in online, we appreciate the gifts that you send in. It helps us to continue to do the good work that we're doing here and to carry on the way we carry on in an amazing fashion, helping all of those who we can reach in whatever way we can, not just from a theological or spiritual perspective, but right now we're doing a huge collection for all of the Pine Ridge Native people that are suffering a huge flood up there. We've taken truckloads of stuff up that we have gathered now and are collecting. And if you want to be part of that, you can certainly add something to that collection this week. We have the back door open on the west side over here, 24/7. So anytime that you have goods, food, clothing, heaters, you can drop them off here and we'll make sure they get up to Pine Ridge and get out to the people that actually need them. We have a special project we'd like to ask anybody who's capable of participating in. There's a new dance sensation called, let's see, it's called Nia. And it's all over Boulder right now and other places. And people want to get in touch because it really is some way of getting spiritually in touch with what's real and wonderful and healing. So we've had a couple of teachers say they would love to do it here. But they say to do it, you're going to have to put up more mirrors in Fellowship Hall. And so we put in our bulletin today a special request for anyone who would like to participate in donating to buying the mirrors that we would like to put up in Fellowship Hall so we could rent that space and help increase our income, which is something we need to do, especially at this time. If you could do that, if you can participate in that gift giving, we would certainly appreciate it. Just let us know. Any part of it. The mirrors will cost $2,349 to be installed. So that's one of the big projects now. We'd like to see if we can make that happen and increase our financial income. Finally, I'd like to say to you that next Sunday I will be speaking. And I will be speaking on a topic that everybody's been afraid to touch. I will be speaking on the transformation of President Trump. And I invite you all to be here for a talk that has been held at bay for quite a while. And I'm asking you to do this as well. Please go on your emails and tell your friends to come and share in this really in-depth talk about the transformation of President Trump. And go on email, go on Facebook, invite them here next Sunday at the 9 a.m. or the 11 a.m. service. We talk about, the healing process that we share in here, that Unity is all about. Well, meditation is a key element in that. And now we have 2 meditation services going on during the week. Shad's got a meditation going on Monday night at 5:30 in the meditation room downstairs. It's a longer session of meditation, and he would like you to be there on time. But you might want to stop in and participate in that meditation. And of course, I continue the meditation with Norma on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock every Wednesday. So we are going to get more and more in touch with a calling that is very focused right now. Anybody that's been reading the masters of this particular time, Eckhart Tolle for certain, we have a calling right now, and we have to enter into it in a very focused manner. So I'm asking you to get in touch with what we're sharing here in a meaningful way. And I thank you for sharing in it in a meaningful way. And so now let us take our offerings in our hands and bless them with this offering statement. I'm going to make it shorter so it's easier. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive because I give. Together, please. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive because I give.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me just singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of This is the sound of voices free, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices free. This is the sound of voices free. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it will turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
I love that song. It just tears me up. All right, so that completes our service. We will have recordings of this service on CD and DVD in the bookstore if you want to pick one of those up. We will have fellowship over here on this side with tea and crumpets, I guess, something like that. And what else? So we got Jack speaking next week, and we'll also be doing the discussion over here in the back corner if you want to join us, if you have any questions or comments about this talk. Other than that, I invite you to stand up and let's rock out to our final song here. And clap, and be animated, be alive.
I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. Free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo! Yeah.
Find who you are and be proud of it.